just a total and utter collapse. State regime media known as Fox is absolutely losing it after Donald Trump's disastrous meeting with world leaders and Zelensky, where the world leaders and Zelensky powerfully stood up to Donald Trump and showed how weak and pathetic he is. And speaking about showing how weak and pathetic Donald Trump is, state regime media Fox is also freaking out over California Governor Gavin Newsom just roasting and mocking and bullying Donald Trump. I think Fox has devoted its programming right now to whining that Gavin Newsom is mocking Trump and MAGA, and meanwhile California Governor Gavin Newsom is almost a week and they still don't get it. I got you hook, line, and sinker. Did you see Dana Perino on Fox where she's like, Gavin, this is what they're saying on Fox, Gavin, you just need to stop this. You need to speak with your wife. Is your wife okay with you posting in all caps and calling Donald Trump low IQ and calling J.D. Vance J.D. Dance and calling Donald Trump tiny hands? That's mean. You're the governor of the largest state. You got to act nicer, California Governor Gavin Newsom. What are you doing? These people are so wild. I mean, literally, he's mocking Donald Trump's post. Here, watch Fox regime host Dana Perino. Here, watch this.
For the last week, Gavin Newsom, why am I giving him advice? You have to stop it with the Twitter thing. I don't know where his wife is. If I were his wife, I would say, "What? You are making a fool of yourself. Stop it. Do not let your staff tweet. And if you're doing it yourself, put the phone away and start over. And if he's got a big job as governor of California, but if he wants an even bigger job, he has to be a little bit more serious."
They keep on going on. There's more of this. I told you this is like their whole coverage. Here's Trey Gallagher, who now California Governor Gavin Newsom says, bird brain Trey Gallagher, a so-called Fox host that nobody's ever heard of, says my posts are childish and unbecoming of a leader. Can you believe it? Many are saying Fox Edit the Tapes News should cancel his pathetic little bedtime show immediately. They are calling it the most boring program in cable history. Total snooze fest. Sad. GCN here, play this clip.
If I were his wife, I would say, "What? You are making a fool of yourself. Stop it. Do not let your staff tweet. And if you're doing it yourself, put the phone away and start over. And if he's got a big job as governor of California, but if he wants an even bigger job, he has to be a little bit more serious."
Tragic story, Greg.
Yeah, and Newsom blames Trump because Trump was president when this guy got his license in California. But it's the state that determines eligibility. They have the autonomy over this. So, I'm sure that if Trump knew about this at the time, he would have done something. But a lot of people didn't know what the libs were up to until it got too late. We didn't know about.
And then Maria Bartiromo got in on the action with MAGA Republican Congress member Darrell Issa as they were whining about Newsom's post. And then Issa's like, but what are we talking about? Donald Trump's polls are record highs. He's literally the worst polling president in the history of the presidency right now. He's a negative 30s, 38% approval. He's underwater with every group. But here, play this clip.
Governor Newsom fired off a Trump-style tweet yesterday saying this: Donald Trump, the lowest polling president in recent history. This is your second to last warning. The next one is the last one. Stand down now or California will counter-strike legally to destroy your illegal crooked maps in red states. Press conference coming, hosted by America's favorite governor, Gavin Newsom. Final warning next. You won't like it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I mean, is he joking? Is this a joke?
Well, the ultimate in false statement, Trump's low approval rating, it couldn't be higher.
I know.
But from a more practical standpoint, look, in some states, the voters have allowed politicians to draw their own line. In California, the voters made a decision that it was going to be done by an independent commission, and he's trying to override that so we can go back to having politicians draw lines for themselves.
All right, we will leave it there. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much.
All right, so Fox devoted a ton of time to that. Then they bring on Laura Ingraham, who doesn't get her acronyms, her made-up acronyms right. She goes, look, with Donald Trump's meeting with the world leaders and Zelensky, we've got to ask ourselves, WWJHD, what would Joe Biden do? Okay, those letters don't go with that. Here, play this clip.
And finally, we have to ask this tonight. WWJHD. What would Joe do? Well, as in Biden, of course, he could never have gotten this done. He spent 3 years cheerleading and funding the war with zero attempts at bold diplomacy. Trump said repeatedly, though, today.
Oh, and then bring out the wambulance, wambulance. Here we have Kristi Noem, after getting busted living rent-free in a residence designated for the Coast Guard commander. Kristi Noem says that she was forced to move in there because people were mean to her. Here, play this clip.
Temporarily, I still pay rent at an apartment in Navy Yard, but had to leave there because the media put my address, my apartment, the logistics where the windows were, and details out to the public, and the threats were so much that temporarily I had to stay somewhere else. So again, the Washington Post just this week did it again, and that's really the carelessness and the thoughtlessness and the heartlessness that the media operates in right now. So we're living in times where...
Hey, Kristi Noem, why don't you tell that to the millions of Americans who are being attacked by ICE, migrants and citizens alike who are being disappeared to concentration camps as you cosplay with your friend who you go around with, Corey Lewandowski, as you destroy FEMA, as you destroy American lives. Anyway, that's the clip there. Here we have Governor Abbott. Here's what his view about redistricting is. California's being so mean. California's breaking all of these laws. They're trying to get rid of Republicans. Oh, my God, these are sociopaths. Abbott, you're the only person who did midterm redistricting. California's responding to what you're doing. By the way, the Democrats want no partisan gerrymandering. So why don't you agree with the Democrats? Let's just get rid of partisan gerrymandering. Oh, wait, Republicans all voted against eliminating partisan gerrymandering. Play this.
What the Democrats have done is disgraceful and potentially illegal. I'll tell you this much. If California dares to try to squeeze out more Republicans, there are going to be lawsuits that will overturn that. What I can tell you in the state of Texas, the 5 Republican seats that we are adding, they are going to withstand legal challenges, and those will be Republican members added to the United States Congress.
Oh, here, bring out the ambulance again. Here's Kristi Noem, although here now Kristi Noem is saying, everybody's saying how safe D.C. is right now. No one is leaving their homes because you've unleashed the Gestapo. Restaurants are suffering. Businesses are suffering. You're crippling D.C.'s economy because you're putting Gestapo, you're putting Army, you're putting National Guard military forces, rather, in the city itself, in the tourist areas too, not even where the crime takes place, and you're not doing anything other than just this propaganda event. And why don't you focus on the red cities where crime is significantly higher? Here, play this clip.
Yeah, Sean, you can already see and feel the difference in D.C. People are knowing that they can walk down the streets, they can run their errands, and they can do so in a more safe environment today than they could just a week ago. In fact, the statistics say that just robberies and those crimes are down 46% in the last week because of what President Trump has done to go after these criminals. So we've got a lot of different agencies that are out there working together. I'm so glad that there are states that are stepping up and being willing to activate National Guard troops to help as well. We've got ICE and CBP, we've got Secret Service, we've got all different kinds of DEA and the FBI and those folks from the DOJ that are committed to this effort. And they've really got the backs of the American people. I'm so proud of the work that we're doing.
Okay, then you have Jesse Waters, what a clown he is, where he's like, look, he's like, Zelensky was on his best behavior today. Did he say thank you to J.D. Vance? I mean, it's just so crazy how to watch a network, just like Fox. I mean, obviously, we know that this is what they are now. But just to become a mouthpiece for Putin, just to be so vile against courageous people like Zelensky, like to watch someone like Jesse Waters, a so-called American, act this way to Zelensky. It's such a crazy thing that we should never normalize. And there are millions of people who watch this Fox MAGA mushed brains out and go, ooh, I guess Zelensky, he's the bad guy, and I guess Putin, who wants to kill me, he's the good guy. Here, play this clip.
Why should we care what another man wears? Well, it's not about the fit, it's about the respect. And Zelensky stepped it up. After the blow-up, he was on his best behavior. He even remembered to say his pleases and thank yous.
Thank you very much for your efforts, personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war. Thank you. And using this opportunity, many thanks for your wife, First Lady of the United States.
Z saw Vance in the room and wasn't ready for another tongue lashing. Instead of finger wagging.
Yeah, I'm not sure of depression. That was right there. So then Jesse Waters and Will Kane are talking about what they believe, why they believe DC's dangerous. They're like, we don't actually know it's dangerous, but like, we've heard that, so we're just going to repeat it on a news network. Obviously a fake news network, but play this clip.
Do you even know how bad DC was? I mean, I always knew certain neighborhoods are bad, and you see the reports and stuff, but you hear about people saying, I can go out to dinner now. I mean, that's just crazy to me in the nation's capital.
Yeah, honestly, Jesse, I don't spend a lot of time in Washington, D.C. So I had to take most people's anecdotal evidence of this, and it's stunning how many people talk about how bad it is. Well, not it's a carjacking or a fight taking place in front of your house, and you're seeing this evidence by the fact that, as you pointed out, so many people are happy to see President Trump take over Washington, D.C. and make it feel safe. Simply the quality of life wasn't there. And Washington, D.C. isn't alone. I would imagine if you interviewed the people of Chicago or Los Angeles, depending on the neighborhood and where they live, they're going to feel very similarly. And they as well might welcome somebody who's actually serious about improving their quality of life. And that wouldn't include J.B. Pritzker or Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, when Big Balls went down, that's when Trump had to call it. You know, if Big Balls isn't safe, no one's safe. And I'm glad he took a beating for the rest of the city, and he's back up on his feet. So, Big Balls, we love you. And we love you too, Will Kane. We love you at 4 o'clock. Not so much in the mornings. We like you much better at 4.
More wambulance, more whining by Fox hosts about Gavin Newsom. Play this clip.
I just don't think it resonates.
There are a lot more things that rise to the top. And I think what a lot of people will realize when they start drilling down and following what Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to do, he would actually have to change the process of redistricting in California to get this done, taking it away from an independent commission, giving it back to the legislature, which is really ironic because that's exactly what he's complaining about when he talks about what Texas is doing wrong. So people are smart and they're going to realize, wait a second, Governor Newsom is saying what Texas is doing is wrong, so we're going to do that too?
Right.
The hypocrisy there just doesn't make any sense.
That's why it's a losing issue for the governor there in California and these other states protesting. You yell and scream. They got Trump derangement syndrome, clearly.
Marco Rubio went on Fox and said that the goal was never to actually make a deal with Putin. No one said, he goes, that there would be a deal with Putin. Really? No one said there would be a deal with Putin? Here's Rubio. Play this clip.
Why did President Trump's meeting with Putin end with no ceasefire? And what does Putin want?
Yeah, well, a couple things. First of all, if you recall, there's no way you can have a meeting like that. And we never said there was going to be a deal coming out of the meeting because the Ukrainians are not there. This is a war between two countries. It's not America. It's Ukraine and Russia. We met with the Russian side. We've spoken repeatedly with the Ukrainian side. We'll see them again tomorrow in person, along with our allies in Europe. So I do think some progress was made in that talk. In terms of narrowing down the issues set, and now these are hard issues that remain. You know, the conversation about where the territorial lines are going to be, questions about long-term security guarantees and who Ukraine can have military alliances with, things like that.
Then Jesse Waters talks about how who needs borders? Germany used to be Prussia. So why do we even care that Ukraine's a country? Just give Russia your land and let the strong prevail. I can't believe that this isn't Russia. I mean, Fox has become Russian TV. This is like watching RT or those Russian propaganda shows I study. Here, play this clip.
And also, these oligarchs want their yachts back. I always like to ask, when Jessica's here, not you, Harold, what is the Democrat plan? Because right now they're saying armchair quarterbacking, you can't reward Putin for his naked aggression. So he can't keep the land he won on the battlefield. Okay, how are you going to get Vladimir Putin to relinquish the land he won in battle? The United States won lands in battle. We didn't just give it back. No country gives back land they win in battle. That's what this is all about. You have to accept reality, and that's what these Democrats aren't doing. Borders change all the time. You can't go back to the borders that Ukraine had. Think about Germany. It used to be the Prussian Empire. Then it was the German Empire. It expanded, it contracted in the world wars, and then they divided it into two. and now it's reunited. And they can't do this to Ukraine? Come on, that's ridiculous.
Then you've got MAGA Republican Congressmember Mark Alford saying the following. Play this clip.
Congressman, your reaction to President Trump's post on Truth Social, it seemed a bit combative as we know Zelensky arrives today at the White House for this historic meeting.
Well, good morning, Cheryl. Thanks for having me on. It is a bit combative, possibly, but look at the attitude that Zelensky had in the Oval Office. I think President Trump is setting it up for today to have a big win in the Oval Office. And I think it's going to mean, looking at the past a little bit, we realize that Joe Biden broke it. And now the U.S. taxpayers, the U.S. And along with Europe is going to have to buy it, I think, in part by the security guarantees that have been talked about so far, possibly Article 5 security guarantees. And Zelensky, I think, in the end, I've been saying this for some time now, is going to have to make a deal. Obama pretty much gave up all of Crimea and with nothing, with no retaliation whatsoever on the part of Ukraine and any support from the U.S. And so now we're left in a position to where I believe Zelensky's going to have to make a deal at some point, and we're still going to have to keep Vladimir Putin at bay to make sure that he does not have any further aggressions into the Balkans. I know Poland is very concerned. Other NATO countries are as well, and they should be.
And then you've got MAGA Republican Senator Roger Marshall attacking Europe. Your play this clip.
From President Trump in that post last night, it seems that his plan may be to apply some serious pressure on Zelensky today to come to an agreement, but that means that Zelensky has to agree to give up land.
Yeah, sure. Well, good morning to you and to all your listeners. I want to remind everybody that this is Joe Biden's war, but it's also the European Union's war. So think about this. Every day, Russia sells $600 million of oil and gas. Europe is purchasing 10% of that. Europe purchases 51% of Russia's LNG. Look, we've been babysitting Europe since World War II. We have 100,000 troops. We're spending $50 billion a year there. This is the EU's war. They need to be stepping up and applying pressure, not just on Zelensky, but on Russia by stop buying their fuel. I mean, how many drones would that pay? So, yes, I'm afraid we're at a point that Zelensky has a choice. Does he want to keep fighting, and he's not going to win this war against Russia, or is he ready to say enough? Let's stop the killing. Let's get the children back. And that's President Trump's goal. And that would be my goal.
Well,
yeah, so utterly pathetic, utterly pathetic. I'm calling it out. I'm exposing it. I'm fact checking it. We're putting it up there to just call out the lunacy here. It's lunacy. Zelensky's the hero. Putin's the bad guy. It's very simple. Zelensky the hero. Putin the bad guy. Europe's supposed to be our friends. Putin's not our friend. Okay? As Donald Trump attacks like Taiwan, we don't allow the Taiwan president to even come into the United States because Xi Jinping bullies Donald Trump. It's just so weak. It's just Trump's so freaking weak. He's such a loser, and he exhibits these qualities of losers, and all these people just cover for him. It's so strange. Well, hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks for watching.